Most knowledge on the Demogorgon is highly speculative, and even Dr. Brenner admitted that he and his peers had a limited understanding of the creature. The truth is, we all have more questions than answers when it comes to the Demogorgon, but we will break everything down as much as we can. That being said, here are some interesting things we could come up with about the monster that terrorized the residents of Hawkins. Origin. The Demogorgon is a predatory humanoid creature that entered Hawkins, Indiana in November of 1983. The word Demogorgon first appeared as far back as the 4th century in a Latin poem, Thebaid, by a Christian scholar named Placidus. In the poem, the word refers to a demon who must not be named. Of course, film creators found a way to incorporate the creature in their plot lines. The Demogorgon in Stranger Things echoes 1958's The Blob, the gut-bursting 1979's Alien, and its mode of communication through crackling phone wires and static-riddled TVs, 1982's Poltergeist. Sprinkle in some E.T., The Exorcist, and Carrie, and you have the perfect monster created by the Duffer Brothers. In Stranger Things, the creature originated from the parallel dimension known as the Upside Down. Although the monster came from the Upside Down, they still haven't revealed if it's a normal monster from there or if it mutated from something else that ended up in there. Demogorgons do lay eggs and are able to reproduce, so there's a good chance there are many more from just the ones that we see. A popular theory is that scientists created it, but their reasoning behind it and how they managed to do that is still unsure. 2011, a psychic test subject from Hawkins National Laboratory made interdimensional contact with it. A gate between dimensions opened at the lab. The creature passed through, terrorizing Hawkins for approximately a week. It abducted various residents and took them back to the Upside Down, usually killing them. Life cycle. The Demogorgon starts its life as the not-so-average slug, as shown when it was coughed up by Barb and Will in Season 1. The slug turns into a polywog, a name given through Dustin's investigation of Dart. The polywog continues to grow until it has 4 limbs and a darker color. After this, the petal mouth is formed, and its size is more menacing until it becomes Demodog. From the Demodog emerges the fully fledged monster of the Upside Down, the Demogorgon. How it got its name? The creature got its nickname from L, and it was highly inspired by the game and the show Dungeons & Dragons. However, the Demogorgon of the Dungeons & Dragons world is not the Demogorgon the audience associates with Stranger Things. The physical description of the D&D Demogorgon is that of 2 baboon heads attached to a body that is both reptilian and muscular. While Stranger Things' Demogorgon is a screeching interdimensional monster with the flower face of death, D&D's Demogorgon is a demon lord who calls itself the Prince of Demons, according to a Dungeons & Dragons page. This means the D&D Demogorgon can speak, unlike the one on Netflix. The one in Hawkins has limbs which are clawed and tentacular, while its tail is forked. It is also sleek, tall, leering, and has a head that opens to reveal rows of teeth inside the petal-like void. Nature. The Demogorgon was able to travel between dimensions at will, creating temporary portals or wounds in the fabric of reality. How or why the Demogorgon possessed this ability is unclear, though it only became aware of and started traveling to the human dimension after a moment of contact with Eleven. The behavior of the beast is predictable, as Brenner remarked, comparing it to a typical predator. Even when the Demogorgon is hunting the people and animals of Hawkins, it doesn't have a plan in mind for any type of meaningful domination. It's simply hunting kills like any other predator in a new space. Nancy made similar associations. She compared the creature to nocturnal predators such as lions and coyotes. The solitary nature of the creature is also very similar to that of a bear. The Demogorgon was also attracted to blood, which compares it to the behavior of a shark. This ability to detect blood appeared incredibly potent, and it could be lured by even small quantities, even when separated by dimension. However, the creature was not exclusively drawn by blood. It proved that it was attracted to sound, just like many other predators. It is currently unknown how exactly the Demogorgon senses the blood, as it appears to only have a mouth and no other visible orifices that could be used for scent. Similarly, it is unclear how the Demogorgon heard sound. Powers. Elle isn't the only person in Stranger Things who possesses some cool powers. The Demogorgon, though evil, appeared to have had some form of telekinetic power. It unlocked the hatch on the buyer's front door while pursuing Will. It's also possible that it used this power to pull in the deer and may contribute to its physical strength despite a visible lack of muscles. However, this has not been made entirely clear. Surprisingly, it can also regenerate. After being trapped and set on fire, the Demogorgon appeared to have healed most of its injuries after a short period of time. A man in a suit. The Demogorgon may be one of the creepiest creatures, but in Stranger Things, it's also just a man in a suit. The suit was molded around Mark Steger's body, the actor who plays the Gorgon throughout, and he often wore stilts to increase his stature. The studio in charge of designing the monster was Aaron Sims Creative, also known for films such as Insidious and The Amazing Spider-Man. The fact that Mark Steger was frequently walking around the set in a freaky Demogorgon costume meant that some of the smaller kids had issues being around him. Thankfully, some genius told them he was a monster from Monsters, Inc., and that eased all the tension. Connection to the Mind Flayer. As far as anyone can tell, it seems like the Mind Flayer is the alpha predator of the Upside Down dimension. and it at least appears to be in complete control of the Demo Dogs. We have no idea where the Demogorgon falls in this hierarchy since it seemed to operate completely on its own in Season 1. So the Mind Flayer appears to be an alien creature whose singular goal is to completely overtake the world, and it seems entirely possible that it has successfully done that to other dimensions before this one. And the Demo Dogs are some kind of hive-minded animals that do the bidding for the Mind Flayer. The Demogorgon is somehow related to these other creatures, but the reason for its actual existence seems to be completely unexplained. Before making contact, it seems exceptionally lucky that the Demogorgon can even breathe on Earth's atmosphere, let alone that it can feed on animals and people that come from this dimension. What was it that the Demogorgon was surviving on before it made contact with this dimension? It doesn't appear that there is anything to eat in the Upside Down, or at least nothing made of meat, which looks to be what the Demogorgon needs to live. What's the deal with water? Demogorgons have never been shown interacting with water, but they have been shown to be harmed by heat and fire. We know that there's a strange connection between the Demogorgon and water, but we have yet to figure it out. When Barb was taken by the Demogorgon from the pool at Steve Harrington's house after it sensed her blood, she woke up in an empty pool in the Upside Down. In Season 2, Episode Chapter 8, The Mind Flayer, Bob uses the sprinkler system to distract the Demodogs inside the Hawkins laboratory. However, the audience only sees the Demodogs change direction due to the sound of the water, not their interaction with it. 11 may have created it. We strongly believe that the monster is actually an extension of 11 and a physical manifestation of her troubled self. The monster was created from 11's accumulated childhood trauma, like mental illness, and it has since become its own separate and independent entity. And there are supporting evidence to support this claim. First of all, the Duffer Brothers have mentioned the Silent Hill video game series as a primary influence for the look and feel of the Upside Down. A major theme of those games is that the monsters and terrors in Silent Hill are gruesome products of psychosis. The Demogorgon is also drawn to blood, as mentioned earlier. 11 nosebleeds multiple times after using her powers, yet the Demogorgon never comes after 11 until the end of the last episode, perhaps because she wanted to be found. Both times that 11 had to focus really hard to find Will, the monster ended up finding Will immediately after. When 11 is facing off against the monster in the classroom, she extends her right hand to channel her powers, and then the monster promptly does the same. After saving Mike from the jump off the cliff, 11 said that she was sorry and that she was a monster. Many fans thought that it was a metaphor, but what if she was saying that she is literally the monster? Why Will? Traditionally, any prey the Demogorgon captured in our dimension and subsequently dragged back to the Upside Down was immediately killed and devoured, as we see with Barb's dead body and the deer carcass. Will, however, managed to escape the Demogorgon and survive for an entire week in the Upside Down. That, in itself, is bizarre and a big question mark in the Stranger Things universe. It appears the monster has a higher level of intelligence than basic predators, but this still doesn't explain why the Demogorgon singled out Will of all people. Theories have also been making the rounds on the internet, which try to explain why the Demogorgon picked Will and his connection to the Upside Down. Allegedly, the Upside Down could be a manifestation of Will's imagination. It could explain why he is the only person known to have survived there for days without any type of protection. The events and creatures are so similar to Dungeons & Dragons because Will is an avid player, and it could have been his main inspiration when he was creating the Upside Down. Totally makes sense. Exactly how many Demogorgons do we have? Elle managed to destroy the monster in Season 1, but there's a possibility that it could make a comeback in Season 4. Season 3 ended on a chilling note with the Russians feeding one of their prisoners to a captured Demogorgon. The scene was harrowing as we saw the guards locking a man in with the creature, which was released from its own cell to feed on the human. However, from what has been shown in Season 4, the Demogorgon in the Russian base has been dubbed as the White Demogorgon by fans for its differing appearance from the Demogorgon which appeared in the first season. Just how the Russians had captured the Demogorgon remains unknown, but they may well have managed to acquire one from the Upside Down. With the Cold War still raging, the Demogorgon could be used as a military weapon against the West and America by the Russians. These details confirm, at least, that there are many different Demogorgons in the Upside Down. For all we know, there might even be several more creatures, just like the Mind Flayer. Maybe the Russians have their own psychic people just like 11, who made contact with the Demogorgon, leading it to open a gate in Kamchatka. Can they communicate? The only lines uttered by the Demogorgon were terrifying roars and screams, which are fitting considering its animalistic behavior. However, it'd be interesting to know if they can communicate in any way. Communication would explain the existence of other Demogorgons. Okay, is it male or female? This may not seem too important, but in the long run, it is. If the Demogorgon is a female, then it's likely there are more considering the presence of the eggs in the Upside Down. How the Demogorgon will help Hopper. So far, we know that the Russians are keeping a Demogorgon, but they possibly don't know the extent of its destruction. The only person who knows exactly what a Demogorgon can do is Hopper, who is also trapped in Russia. A theory suggests that the Demogorgon will find its way out of the prisoner lab in Kamchatka and go on a killing spree. Hopper, knowing very well what a Demogorgon can do, knows that it can't be good to have one running wild and free. The guards would then turn their attention to the monster attacking their people, and this is when Hopper will see an opportunity to escape not just from the monster, but from the Russians. Genius, right? The Duffer Brothers claim they have a 30-page document that explains where this monster actually came from and why there aren't more monsters, so there's a lot we still don't know. What are your thoughts about the Demogorgon and Stranger Things? Sound off in the comments section below. Remember, we publish amazing videos daily. This has been Riveted.